Back here at the Levine Center, and you can see right there is the man, your new record holder for the amount of assists in a single game in Queens basketball history. Kenny Dye getting 16 assists. Kenny, thanks so much for joining us after the game. How does it feel to be a record holder here at Queens University?
No, it feels good. It's good to be part of history, knowing all the players that play here. I know my freshman year, DC, Daniel Carr, he had a high assist game that one. And it's just fun to be part of history and play with these guys, so it feels good.
That record stood for the entirety of the existence of this basketball program. And to talk about over 30 years of that record standing and then for you to break it like that, it's got to be incredible. Adding 8 points to boot, and you look at a couple of the teammates that really helped you out, Jamari Smith, Keelan Penny, shooting the hell out of the basketball when you see what he was able to do from the perimeter. What did you make of those two guys' performance today?
Oh, no, they play perfect. That's how I want them to play every game. I tell them every time you touch the ball, I hit it to you, shoot. Because, they can shoot at a high clip. Jamari, he has a soft touch on the inside and the outside. We all know Keelan, he can shoot. So every time they get it, I want them to shoot it.
Kenny, you look at the way that you've been able to play so controlled with the basketball. How much have you taken a step up as a leader in the absence of Danny Carr, who you kind of talked about as being a mentor of yours with this basketball program?
Just trying to be more vocal. Coach Lundy, he's always telling me be more of a leader. He wants me to talk more. I try and do it in my own way, kind of like not so out loud, but I talk to him personally, like face to face. DC, he taught me a lot on how to be a leader, like by action, by talk, off the court and on the court. So I try and take a little bit of that with me and just kind of play with more confidence. But those guys who I played with my freshman and sophomore year, they taught me a lot about the culture. Lewis, Dan Kulu, Sean Willett, all those guys taught me a lot.
You seem to take so much pride on the defensive end, and that's not necessarily just to you. It's this entire basketball team. How much pride do all of you guys as a unit take? Even when you're up 20 points, when you're up 30 points, it doesn't seem at all that your energy goes down whatsoever.
Yeah, that's Coach Lundy engraving in our heads that once we get up that much, then we're working on ourselves, working on what we can do, and keeping the intensity and knowing that every team that comes in here is trying to take what we have. So we got to play through the whole 40 minutes no matter what the score is. When it's halftime, the score is 0-0, we come out with the same intensity.
You guys have been very good this past week. You look at 4 games in a week's worth of time and winning all of those games, winning comfortably all of those games. What's cooking for you guys so well right now?
The chemistry, guys buying into their roles. We know we had to stop a couple times for COVID. We just got to buy into our roles and buy into what Lundy's doing. And we trust each other. We got good chemistry off the court, so that's really helping us right now.
All right, so as you were getting so many assists tallied up, you had 9 in the first half. Tell me, Kenny, did you know about how many assists that you had during the game?
Nah, actually, I didn't know. I asked one of my coaches how many I had. He said 0. And I was like, there's no way. So I started gunning for it. I was like, I'm going to try and get as many assists as I can. But then they told me after I had 16, 15, and I was happy. But
so you didn't even know when the record was 14. You didn't know at the end that you actually even had the record at that point.
No, I didn't know.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really cool. Congratulations, Kenny. Great game. Awesome to see you break that record, and hopefully you have some more of those types of games in the future. Good luck to you going forward.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Kenny Dye, the new record holder for assists in a single game in Queens basketball history. We'll take a quick break. Going to talk to Associate Head Coach Grant Leonard coming up next. You're listening to the Queens Sports Network and SAC Live. Back here at the Levine Center, we just talked to Kenny Dye, who had 16 assists on the day, and now we'll welcome Associate Head Coach Grant Leonard to the broadcast. Coach, thanks so much for the time. How are you?
Good. Walker, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Good to talk about such a big victory, 99-70. You guys were really clicking on all cylinders out there. Maybe in the first half, actually a close game that you had with Limestone, and then you really opened up the floodgates as the game went on. Looking really good this past week. 4 games that you've had now, winning by comfortable margins in all of those. Kenny Dye kind of spoke to the chemistry as to one of those reasons why you guys are playing so well. What would you say?
Yeah, I think 9 new guys, and they're all starting to get a feel for each other, and we've got Jamari back, and he really helps our offensive flow because he passes so well. You know, our guys, there's 27 assists. I'm excited for that effort, and the second half we really did a better job on the glass, and couldn't be prouder for our guys because 4 games in 8 days is a serious run.
Yeah, you mentioned Jamari Smith. He was playing the first time that he actually returned was this past game, and Coach Lundy, talking with him after that, said still working on conditioning, not going to be able to get it immediately upon entering your first game, but man, looked incredible out there, especially in the early going, starting 6 of 7 from the field, totaling 16 points. Do you think he's getting a little bit more into a rhythm, and how much does he bring your offense when he's in the game?
Well, he's probably one of the more talented players in our league offensively, and so he's going to bring, because he attracts a lot of attention, so he opens up stuff for our guards. I mean, I think Keelan got off 12 threes. I think Jamari had a big deal to do with that, and that's why Kenny had so many open passing lanes, because teams are focused on Jamari and Gavin, and there's a lot more open space for them to attack.
You know, I was talking about just even coming into this season, you lose 5 seniors, a couple that were such big parts of your program in Van Turner and Danny Card. Then you have quite a bit of transfers in a pandemic season that makes everything a lot more difficult, especially when you're trying to incorporate all these new pieces. You know, how's it gone for you with that kind of aspect surrounding what we've been going through with COVID-19?
Well, I think about as good as it can get. I think we have a lot of really high character kids that get along exceptionally well, and I think that's what makes the transition so smooth. We have guys that really are trying to learn to really play for each other and really run the floor for each other, make passes for each other, screen for each other, and when they have that kind of mindset, 27 assists happens, and you have a great game.
Defensively, you guys look very good, only allowing 68 points per game, kind of the last 2 games around that area, 70 here that you allowed to Limestone, and it doesn't seem like you guys ever let up. Doesn't matter if it's a 10-point lead, 20 or 30 that you reached here. Is that something that you have to instill constantly every single practice? How important is that to you?
It's the number one thing. When we talk about defense, 75% of our scouting reports, and I think we want every player to have a defensive mindset to start, because then when we get stops, we can run, and we're very athletic, and we move the ball fast. So anytime that we're not taking the ball out of the basket, we're going to be exceptionally better offensively.
At the end of this game, when you had a comfortable margin, you decided to go with some players that don't get as much playing time. How important is it for those guys to get the kind of run they did?
Huge, especially for Caleb Matthews. This was his most minutes all year, and he has played sparingly in every game, and I think it was really important for him to get kind of his feet under him and play 10 minutes, and I think he scored, 6 or 8 points. I thought he did a great job. Steven Miner's really coming on. He never takes his foot off the pedal in practice. He does a great job, and so for all those guys, really excited to see Caven Hill knock down a 3. We recruited him as a shooter, and he made one, and he needed to kind of take that monkey off his back.
It was an excellent game. 99 points for Queens as they win against Limestone, 99-70, and getting to hear Associate Head Coach Grant Leonard talk about it. Certainly some fun stuff here today. Coach, thanks so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, that was Kenny Dye and Grant Leonard joining us on today's broadcast. We appreciate you joining us here on the Queen Sports Network. Until next time, also a thanks to Reggie Walker and Coach Jen Brown for joining us on today's program. Until next time, this has been the Queen Sports Network and SAC Live.